What?
Read that.
All right.
Oh, and you should read this disclaimer.
Oh, yes.
There's a disclaimer here.
Okay, I'll read that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Roughing It. It's the title of the show tonight. The topic, their theme, is going to be aspects of deviance. My name is Alicia Balistreri, and I'm the producer of this show. I guess so. I just found that out right now, reading this disclaimer. The things you will hear over the next hour, so it's from 7 to 8, represent the views of aspects of deviance or roughing it, and the people making them. So that would be myself and Tyler Renta. He is the one who started this particular hour-long show. All opinions and quotations in no way represent Riverwest Radio, and they are the sole responsibility of the producer, the guests, and the callers. Riverwest Radio is not liable for any legal issues arising from the content of this program. Okay, that was weird. I have to look down because it's on my little table right here. Anyway, I think you guys can see me. I can see me kind of from over there. Anyway, welcome to tonight's show. I just want to say thanks to Riverwest Film and Video for giving me this opportunity to come in here tonight and share some of my work. So I got a little something written out, but I'm going to try to be more original, not like read from my script here, but it does help to write a little bit of something to prepare yourself. So yes, my name is Alicia, and tonight's show again is Roughing It, and it's all about writing and rough drafts. Tonight's theme is aspects of deviance. The show features written pieces that are still basically rough or drafts. They're in the process of, being fully done, like any piece of art. It's often done in stages. So do keep that in mind tonight as you listen along. The show does run an hour, 7 to 8. I'm going to read the material that I have written. And then at about 7:30-ish, if all goes as planned, keep your fingers crossed, we're going to then get a call from Tyler Renta, who is actually the guy who started this particular segment on writing. And then I'm going to do an interview with him, and then I'm going to read one of his newest drafts. And the title of that is Tootie Man's Last Dance. I think it's more of a, I don't want to say a dark comedy. It's humorous, but it's dark and tragic. It might even remind you of somebody you might know, or somebody that we all know, or maybe someplace we've been. So anyway, I'm going to start off with a few rough drafts of my own. All of them have some aspect of deviance to them. But before I start, I want to clarify a little bit of what I mean by deviance. One of my coworkers today, Carrie, asked me what I meant. What is it? What is Aspects of Deviance? What's this show going to be about tonight? And I was like, wow, that's a great question. Maybe some people aren't familiar with deviant behavior and deviance. And it's pretty broad, actually. So, of course, what I did was I went home, and I love Google, so I looked it up. And I wanted to make sure everybody understood tonight's theme. So deviance is as follows of what I found out. Very simple. Actions or behavior that violate social norms. So that, like I said, that's pretty broad. So then I looked up the word aspects. Oh, we got a call coming in. I'm going to grab that real quick. Hello, Riverwest Film and Video. You're on the air.
Hi. I'm trying to get into your website to watch the Compose Yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're on live right now?
Yeah.
She's trying to get on the website? Oh, I should have told her. How? Oops. Sorry, caller. I hope she gets on the website. Maybe she'll call back. Let's hope she calls back. A little caught a little off guard. I'm like, is that him calling early? He's interrupting my part. Okay, anyway, back to where I was. And maybe we'll get her interrupted again. Maybe she'll call back. Hopefully she does. Okay, so what is an aspect? An aspect is a feature that is linked to many parts of a program. So just a piece of something. So, but which is not necessarily the primary function of the program. So basically, it's broad. All these stories are different aspects of deviance. Keep an open mind. Try to find the deviance. I'm going to start with I guess it's a poem, free verse that I wrote. It cracks me up. I think it's hilarious, though it might not really be very funny. It's called Garbage Day. Garbage Day. It's about a garbage man. A day in the life of a garbage man. How interesting could that be? Well, we're going to find out. So, Garbage Day by Alicia Belstrari. He cleans the city for a living. Garbage removal. Pays decent. Good benefits. Retirement plan. He is out early. He starts early. Good hours. Who could ask for more? Sometimes, though, the stench, it overwhelms him. The dirty, wet diapers. Bloody tampons among rotting chicken bones. He learned to push back the gag reflex long ago. But this particular day, warm vomit crawled up his tight throat. The bag was extremely heavy today. The brown sludge, shit, it was leaking. The odor was so pungent. Vomit now spewing all over and spraying the lawn at 1666 West Martha Lane. The black plastic, the seams splitting with the weight of what could possibly stink so bad? It landed with a squishy pop, exuding toxic death as the head rolled toward his feet. The rotten corpse head looked as repulsed as he did. One eyeball was missing. Maggots. Way too many for counting. He shit his pants just then, vomiting at the same time. Reality has a way of sneaking up on people. His only thought that hot July morning, thank God I start vacation tomorrow. The end. Yeah, I don't even know where that came out of me. One day I just sat down and started writing, and sometimes that's how it is with writers. You just write. And it's funny because I know a garbage man. He hasn't heard the poem, but maybe one day I'll read it to him. I wonder if he'll appreciate it. All right, let's see what else I can get for you guys. Well, I'm gonna read you this one. This one's a little personal to me. I'm not gonna go into detail, but I am gonna share this. Many of us know people or have been ourselves addicted to either drugs or alcohol. And many of us experience a type of death when the addiction takes over. And a lot of people don't understand addiction, and I, have a hard time myself sometimes understanding it. So this has a special meaning for me, and this is called Death of a Junkie. So I'm going to start with this. I believe now that you can't truly appreciate life, your own life, that is, until you've died at least once. The needle became my friend, my lover, my husband, and my God. Heroin, I'd float. It was a brown, soft cloud, taking me to heights of oblivion. It was a warm, soft heaven, indescribable with mere words. When the price of heaven breaks your soul and hell is free, you die. You die 1,000 deaths of detox, withdrawal, and then insanity. The devil is always hiding in an empty heroin baggie. But a junkie knows that $10 will get you Jesus in tinfoil. I'm drifting down a river filled with brown shit. H is for hell. It's for havoc and hate. Being high. All things must eventually come down. But without wings to fly, the ground is hard upon landing. Many people die a physical death. Blessed are those. Cursed are the ones that die a spiritual death. Of zombies, walking dead, their bodies without souls. They are hungry ghosts. They are so thirsty, but their throats are closed. Blind eyes, the light is too bright. In darkness we hide, finding false peace in bliss. The sun always rises and sets, just like the existence of an addict. The junkie knows heaven and experiences hell on a daily basis. And they pray, "Dear God, give us this day our daily fix. We search out our temptation and follow evil. For ours is the sorrow and the gutter forever and ever and ever and then some." So, yeah, that's pretty much the life and times of an addict. But I want to say about that is, there's redemption and there's a different path that you can follow. If you know anybody who suffers from any pain, or it doesn't even have to be addiction, if anybody is just suffering, sometimes all we need is somebody to care, somebody to listen and not judge. And I learned a long time ago not to judge if I haven't walked in that person's shoes. So that's all I want to say about that. This is actually one of my favorite writings. Of course, along with Garbage Day, that just cracks me up. I'm demented, but who would know, right? So I hope that girl found our website. If she's there, hi. Sorry I hung up on you. I didn't know what to do. Okay, let's see what I got. I got a couple more here. It's only like quarter after. I'm going to read. Which one should I read here for you guys? I'm going to read this one. This one's not so deviant. It's a little sad. I'm going to read this one to you. This one's called Am I Dreaming? I think I wrote this one a couple months ago. A friend of mine had gotten me a journal for writing because I wasn't writing. So my friend Thomas was like, well, here's a journal and maybe then you'll write. And so I did. And the cover of the journal has a little vampire girl on the front eating like an apple, and it's blood. I think blood's coming out of her mouth or out of the apple or something, and it's really pretty in kind of a dark kind of way. So that's kind of what inspired this. And I've also known some people that have experienced some tragedies, so I guess that's where some of that stuff comes from too. As long as myself, I've experienced some tragedies too. We all have, we all have. So anyway, this one's called Am I Dreaming? I dreamt about a vampire last night. He looked a little bit like you, except he was Asian, with blonde dreadlocks. I woke up, and you were at my window. Except it really wasn't you, 'cause you're not black with hazel eyes. I couldn't let you or him in, 'cause the window was stuck. So I went outside. But it was too late. You were driving away in a red Cadillac. You looked a little bit like Bob Marley. I slept outside last night until 2. I saw you flying past the moon. You were in a hurry, I think. I sat at a bus stop in the pouring rain. The bus, it never came. so I couldn't get to you. I rolled over on Thursday, and you weren't in my bed. The bathroom was empty. I checked downstairs, but you weren't on the couch either. I heard your car just then. I found you in the garage. But it didn't look like you anymore. I dreamt last night that you were dead. I dreamt last night that you were dead. And I wish that it was a dream. That one has a little bit of personal significance to my cousin's mother committed suicide in the garage in their car when they were little kids. And I don't know, I think that does something to you, because my one cousin, she just had never been the same after that. I think there's something dies inside of you when you're a little kid and your mom kills herself. Anyway, we got about 15 minutes till Mr. Rent-A-Calls. I hope that goes through. I hope that works out, because I thought I had more material. I'm going to stop for a second. I got one more piece to read. I'm going to stop for a second and talk to my friend here. My friend came with me to offer some support, my boyfriend, Thomas.
Hello.
So you can't see him because I think the camera's only on me. But I'm going to say hi to him tonight. And thanks for coming out here with me to do the show in this hot weather, an hour from here. We're from Racine. Well, actually, I'm from Milwaukee originally. I should maybe tell you a little backstory. I'm from Milwaukee originally, and I used to come into this film and video store with my boyfriend at the time, Tyler Renta, who then became my husband. And he was in film school for film and art, and he was always working on some crazy project, and I was always, right along there being interested. And we'd always come in here and rent video equipment, and I just thought this was like the coolest place because they had all these like really offbeat movies. And I do have to say, Racine movies suck. There's nowhere to get any movies. Right, Thomas?
That's right.
They closed Hollywood Video, which had a little bit of offbeat movies. Blockbusters are all gone. We have one video. It just sucks. We have one video store in like Redbox. I have never even used a Redbox. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you get the opportunity, come and check out this video store, Riverwest.
Yeah, this place is awesome. I'm gonna have to drive all the way here and get some movies. Because I like movies, and I like offbeat movies. But anyway, so yeah, so that's, and then years later had passed, and me and Tyler got married, and that was kind of crazy because I didn't plan on getting married. He was a lot younger than me. He was like 10 years younger, and there's an emergency. Songbirds of the night going by. I hear the phone. Is that? No, that's not this phone.
No, it's not this phone.
Okay. So anyway, we got married, and I was really interested in the world of art and film and all that. And so he turned me on to some new stuff, and I was like a pretty I guess I was like pretty straight-laced person, like ultra responsible person. Till I met him. He corrupted me. Took me down some dark places with, of course, my consent. But it turned out to be good because I got to experience life, and then I got to decide. I guess for lack of a better word, between the good and the bad. The dark and the light. And I went through the dark to get to the light, and it's the best thing I ever did. So now I'm back to being straight-laced again. Which actually feels like a lot better. But you can get that. You can get your deviance, your deviant desires out in other things. It doesn't have to be in destructive things. You can do stuff that's creative. A lot of people that I think get involved in deviant behavior are really just artists at heart, and they're just creative people, and they don't know how to channel their creativity. They're so stuck in those social norms that they think they have to be, this certain kind of person. And that's just not true. You should be just. Oh, did you stop for a commercial? something?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I think we're still rolling.
I just can't see it.
Yeah, we're still live.
How do you know?
We are.
Okay. So anyway, that just kind of caught me off guard because I can't see myself now. The camera, but we are live, still rolling. Okay. Oh, people walking by. Anyway, this is a cool part of town here, and come check it out. Come check out Riverwest, part of Milwaukee. Get some coffee next door. Rent a video. Enjoy something at the lake. Okay, I'm going to read one more piece, and then I'm thinking Tyler's going to call in. It's like 7:21. Okay, this one I just wrote recently, and actually Tyler inspired me to write this. He asked me, he's like, are you writing? And I'm like, no, I haven't been writing. I said, I'm just too critical. I'll write something and I'll throw it out. And he said, what you need to do is, he goes, you need to just sit down and write. He said, don't worry about editing, don't worry about content, don't even worry if it makes any sense. Just sit down and write for 20 minutes. Whatever comes to your mind, just write it. And then take a break and then come back the next day and do 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So I didn't do that right away, and every day he'd call, did you write? No, I didn't write, leave me alone, And then finally I came up with this. And I wrote it, and then I retitled it 4 times. So I finally found a perfect title for it. And the title for this one is Girl. Just simple, Girl. It's about a girl. And I kind of like it. Actually, it's pretty good. And I don't think, I might have edited a little bit at the end, but it's still in its rough form. And here it goes. It's Girl. There once was this woman, who was sad all the time. It was weird, because she was always smiling. Most people thought she was happy all the time. But I noticed that her laughter never reached her eyes. I don't think she was trying to fool anyone. It was just how she was. She had a lonely soul, I think. She never seemed to get anywhere, but I would see her every place. She had a lot of people that she knew, but she told me once that she had no friends. I found that kind of strange and crazy. I thought she was just an oddball goof when I first met her, from my friend. It didn't take me long to realize she was quite genius. I wanted to be like her. I at least wanted to be her friend. This wasn't going to happen. I couldn't save her. I wanted to save her. I wanted her laughter to reach her eyes. I thought if only she could see how I was different from everyone else. I could love her a lot, more than anyone else she ever met. She really started to make me sad. I realized I could never measure up because she didn't have any standards. If she did, they were invisible, just like her. She told me once she wished she never existed, but it was too late now. She believed in God, but only she could understand her meaning of God. She never cared that she was different. I want to call her unique, but she really wasn't. We all feel empty, and I tried to tell her that a few times. She giggled in this flat kind of way that she could. She didn't want to be serious, though all of her thoughts and words were always questioning. She made people question their beliefs, their values, even their parents. I didn't like this about her, but I couldn't help loving her in spite of it all. We became close fast, but she always kept that little bit of distance between us. It was like she was out there, somewhere else. Maybe she was dreaming about what it would be like to have somebody else's life, someone else's face. Boy, did she have a beautiful face. Man, did I dig that face. Especially when she was mad. I liked making her mad. She didn't ever stay angry for long. I think she really didn't give a shit too much about anything to hold a grudge. She could just disappear and, not seem to care. I like to think she cared too much. I wish I could do that, not care but care. Or like leave people guessing in my dust. She did it well, too well. I love to hate this about her. She was such a free bird, caught in a cage that was like this town. She wasn't even from here. Her story was always changing. I didn't question it much because I didn't think she would answer me anyway. What did it matter? She was here now. She was gracing me with her presence. She would say that at times to me and others. I think she kind of meant it. Well, we were better people, though, after knowing her. I don't know how exactly, I just feel it. Well, I talk about her like she is gone, but she will never leave me. I put her in my heart and in my mind. I have her letters she has written me. She mails letters just because. I have never met anyone else that did that. She was neat. Kids were always drawn to her, though she says she lost patience with kids a long time ago, and that's why she never had any. She plays with kids like she is young. She will always be young. She made me feel young. She made me feel a lot of the time. She really made me feel. Her memory never leaves my brain. She lives like a past life in my cells. Cell memory. She said she was my father in a past life. I believed her about that. She made me believe a lot of weird, far-out stuff. She spoke things and made them sound like truth. She was wise like an old earth mother, but also like a young maiden. She was also the embodiment of the old crone, the Baba Yaga, the woman of old ways and old teachings. She taught me about spirit. I like to call her and tease her and say she was the wounded healer. She was medicine for people's souls, ones that had the sickness. She would never heal herself. But then again, maybe she wasn't really broken. I ponder this. Maybe I'm the one torn and shattered. Maybe I dream too much. She told me once that I was just a photocopy of everyone I had ever met. I don't think she found this attractive about me. I could see the disdain that day in her dark pupils. I became ashamed and I hated her for a few moments. It passed quickly enough, it always did. 'Cause then she'd laugh at me, and I could never help laughing too. But I would never be good enough for this ghost girl, woman, maiden, old crone. She was elusive, like smoke on water. Sometimes I can still hear her voice, but only sometimes, only sometimes. And I wish at those moments that I was someone else. I dream I had a different face and a different name. I dream that I have become a part of her, that I would have died with her. A part of me did die with her. My now ghost girl, my friend, my love. Oh, I miss her so. She left one night. It was an ordinary night, but it was a night filled with mist, mist thick like smoke. It was raining a little. She said she was just running to the store. She said she would be quick. She didn't come back. She will never be back. Did she ever exist? It's been so long. She has been gone too long. I knew she wasn't coming back. She would tell me, she would say one day she would go. She would say one day, you'll go. One day we all go, she said, we go home. We go, we are all gone. Did she say she'd be right back? Death comes in various forms, she said. To live, we must die. To be born again, to live another life, and die many deaths. She was stabbed to death outside of the store. The next day was hot and the sun shined way too bright. I thought I heard her come in. Her scent was next to my bed. My alarm sung to me. Only the good die young. Only the good die young. Thank you. Thanks for listening. All right, we got 7:30. I'm going to take a drink of water here real quick. I got some water right here. Thanks. So we should have Rinta on the phone here any second, hopefully. All right on time, Mr. Rinta. He's prompt. Here we go. Hello, you're on the air.
Call from
Tyler.
an inmate at Racine County
press
Jail.
1.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Did you know Inmate Debit is now available at this facility? Inmate Debit is a new inmate-owned prepaid calling account that allows inmates to place calls, local, long-distance, international, to any number on their approved calling list. You are able to conveniently fund this inmate account without having to set up an account of your own. Simply go online to www.securustech.net or call Securus Correctional Billing Services at 1-800-844-6591 and select the option to directly fund an inmate debit account today. 1. To refuse this call is being terminated. No third-party calls are allowed.
I just terminated it. It said no third-party calls were allowed.
Oh, we'll let him go through.
You didn't let him go?
No. Don't know.
No third-party call?
What is a third-party call?
Because he's going live on the radio.
No,
They must know the...
They wouldn't be able to.
No.
How could they tell that?
Third-party call?
He'll probably try to
It
call.
almost sounded like someone called a second time, didn't it? Didn't it ring twice?
It'll call and then there'll be a recording. And then you have to hit 1. What?
I don't know, but I think maybe because I hit call, maybe it opened up, you hit flag.
Oh, yeah, it did. It opened up another call. Yep, that's probably why. Well, he'll probably call. That's okay. He'll probably call
He'll
again.
probably call back, but you should answer the receiver.
Can I do that?
Answer it by the receiver?
I probably gotta press
Can you do that?
I probably gotta...
I think it's just better to answer it, like pick it up.
Yeah, see, he hit it again. That's why.
Okay.
And that was a 3-way call then. I hope he was smart enough to call back.
We'll get it.
We'll get it.
Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Well, anyway, he'll call back if he's smart. Oh, there he is. He's smart. Okay. You want to do it?
Yeah, let him go.
I'll hear so I can
Okay.
hear the numbers.
Hello, this is a free call from
Tyler.
It's going to keep going, and then it'll tell you when to press
an
1.
inmate
I'll go like
at
this when you press 1.
Racine County Jail.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Did you know Inmate
doesn't.
Debit is now available at
Press
this
1 does not
facility?
terminate the call.
Inmate Debit is a new
Press 1 to accept the call.
inmate-owned prepaid calling account that allows inmates to
maybe,
place
yeah,
calls,
don't... Oh, yeah, you're
local,
right. It's a prepaid
long-distance,
call. Don't... I don't know.
international, to any number on their approved calling list. You are able to conveniently fund this inmate account without having to set up an account of your own. Simply go online to www.securustech.net or call Securus Correctional Billing Services at 1-800-844-6591 and select the option to directly fund an inmate debit account today. 1. To refuse this free call, press 2. If you would like to
don't press
permanently
2. Press
block your
1.
number from receiving calls from this facility, press
No, it said
6.
2. It said press 2.
Did you know
Press 1.
Inmate
Trust me.
Debit
No,
is
no,
now
it's not.
available at
No,
this
it didn't.
facility?
It's 2.
Inmate
Trust
Debit
me.
is a new
Don't do it.
inmate-owned. Thank you for using
Yeah, see,
Securus.
we're on.
You may start the
See.
conversation now.
I do this all the time. Hello? Tyler?
How's it going? Yes,
Hey, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, we got him. Sorry, we had a technical difficulty.
It happens.
Okay, thank you. What?
So,
Oh, I gotta turn you up. Hold on, I'm gonna turn you up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, you there?
Yeah, I was worried that it didn't go through. Okay, cool.
All right, we had a difficulty. You called perfect timing. It was awesome.
Awesome, great. All right, how are you?
I'm good. I got to read all my material. We're on the air as we speak, and I'm glad to hear from you.
Yes.
Okay, well, the show, your show, The Roughing It, and the theme is Aspects of Deviance tonight.
And you're hosting it.
And I'm hosting it. Thanks to you. I was on the way up here. I was driving. I told Thomas. I said, Tyler has a funny way of getting me to do stuff I don't want to do, but yet I really do want to do it, which is weird. So you're always good for something.
You're having fun with it.
You're always good.
Right?
You're good for that at least, right? Just kidding.
I hope.
So anyway, yeah. Oh, okay. They probably all heard that you're calling from, the Racine County Jail. Wonderful. But it goes into our topic for aspects of deviance, right?
Okay.
I I got a couple questions. We'll get back to how you ended up there and all that good stuff in a minute. Let's talk first about this rumor that's been going around about you, Tyler.
What's that?
I heard that you are the only carny to have graduated from college. Is this true?
No, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but, you know, it takes all kinds, you know, when you're at that point in your life and you just need to pick up and go and take off with a band of gypsies. Well, you know, that's what I did. And, you know, I mean, I think I grew as a person because of it, so.
Awesome. So would you call it life experience, right?
I wouldn't call it anything else but.
Awesome.
Living
All right.
the dream.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's definitely, I don't know, it is what it is. It's great. It's good stuff. You know, I want to ask you, who is Tyler Rinta? Who is that guy? Give us some dirt.
Well, I don't know what kind of dirt you want. I mean, I'm an adventurer. I'm a player in the game of life. You know, I mean, I can't say that I'm a career-oriented person or, you know, as much as sad as it is, a family-oriented person, always, you know.
Right.
But, I mean, both those things I find I take very seriously. I like to consider myself an artist, a writer, you know, but I also like to consider myself a dad, you know.
Right. You are a dad.
It's like, you know.
You're a good dad when you're around.
Well, you know,
you're a good dad.
Even when I'm not around, you know.
Well, yeah, I know.
But, you know, at the same time, I'm a bit of a vagabond. You know, I don't know. It's a difficult question to ask. Who is Tyler Rinta? This guy's sitting in inmate 91141. That's who.
Well, let me say this just to clarify for a lot of people out there. The reason I brought up the carnival and the reason I brought up the college graduate and the jail Tyler, the criminal Tyler, or whatever, you know, whatever. If one or two stints make you a criminal, I don't know. Bad stuff happens to good people. Shit happens, whatever. I just want to clarify to people that, you know, it's part of the dark side. It's part of walking on the dark side. It doesn't make somebody a bad person, or it's not. People shouldn't be up for judgment because of stuff that they do, experiences that they've had. Here's a guy who came from a good family. He graduated from UWM with his degree in film and art at a very young age of, what, 22? Were you 22 when you graduated?
23. I think I was 23.
You got married to me. We had a son. We did some living, whatever you want to call it. We entered the dark side. We learned a lot. And some stuff happened.
If you want to call that's life experience.
Right, and that's life experience, but it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't define you. Just because you're sitting in county jail right now does not define who you are. It's a piece. It's a piece. It's an aspect.
Alive and well. Lisa, hold on for a second. I mean, I want to state this. Art is alive and well in the most unexpected of places.
Right.
Even here in jail, you know?
Yes.
It's in the artist's eye, waiting for the right time for the audience to take their seats and catch the show. Don't think that even though I'm in here, and I don't want people to get the wrong impression that I'm, like, you know, down and out.
Right.
I mean, I'm writing the story which you're about to
Exactly.
read. I wrote that in here. I mean, I've created a lot of art while I'm in here.
Yep.
I mean, in all the various times, I kind of consider myself fortunate for having this time to, you know, sit back and reflect on, you know, all those life experiences, stuff that you and I have done in the past.
Right.
You know, whether it was good or bad, it's what you talked about earlier. Life experience is what it was.
That's right.
All right. And I went to school to become a filmmaker. You know, whether or not I will ever be a filmmaker is neither here nor there. I'm a writer at heart.
Right.
That's what I want to be. I want to be the Bob Seger of short stories. Okay. Now, I like stories from the road, and I like stories about the dark side, you know? And
right.
Only way I was ever going to get that information, the true heart of that thing was to experience it.
Exactly.
You know, for better or worse, and even though I'm in here, you know, for, you know, a short time, relatively short amount of time, I don't consider myself, you know, oh, poor me, I'm in jail. I mean, and even when I went to, you know, the minimum security prison, I wasn't, you know, doing that. That's where I wrote my first novel, Wandering in the Transient America.
Right.
it's, which I'm going to take to, final draft when I get out of here.
Right.
But, it's like I'm still living my dream, even from in here.
Right.
And that's what the key thing I'd like to stress is. It's not like one can do a lot with themselves, from behind these bars.
Right.
It's all in what you make of it. People and that goes as well for people, living outside of here. I mean, it's just putting your mind to something and doing it. It's kind of like what you're doing tonight on the radio.
Yep.
You know?
I would have never did this. I mean, this is like, I write, and my writing, I usually read it to friends and stuff, and you've always encouraged me to explore and to break through and do something, I don't know, different, or like, you always knew I had, like, you're a very inspirational person, Tyler. That's what I love about you. You really took the part of me that wanted to be creative, but just didn't know how and how to channel it, and you like pushed me, like, and in some weird way you were my mentor, and you still are. And that weird way, you just made me look at life different and experience. I don't know. It's just I'm better off knowing you, like my story girl. I mean, maybe you were partly in there somewhere,
Did you write? Is that one of the ones you read tonight?
Yeah, I actually read. I read Girl, and I read that last. I read Am I Dreaming, about the vampire that I saw at my window and the guy that dies at the end. Death of a Junkie. And I read Garbage Day, the one that you were repulsed at. Remember that one?
Yeah. Well, good. Hey, I didn't like that one in particular. It doesn't mean, it doesn't have an audience somewhere.
Right, right.
And don't let anybody ever shit on your dreams. I got to watch my language.
I swore a little bit here. I just never said that F word.
Take off your, take away from what you want to do.
Exactly.
Just because one person doesn't like it doesn't mean somebody else won't.
Right. At least, I did it. I wrote it, and I like it. And I was talking about Girl, how you told me to sit down and don't edit, don't look at it, just write. Sit down, take 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and write. Don't, erase, don't do nothing. And that's how I got Girl, and that's one of my best pieces,
I like that one. That's a good one, and keep on going. I think everybody out there, the theme of the show is roughing it, okay?
Right.
And, I hope, the in some way, shape, or form, over time, we can hook up with more writers out there. And people can bring their rough drafts in and read them on the air and, just to, get these thoughts from the page to a stage,
Right.
And I think that would be important. There's a lot that we can do, but it's about getting ideas from the page and giving them somewhere to be, besides just in some journal that gets, shuffled away at the back of somebody's closet,
right?
For, somebody to clean out later in life and maybe get a little amusement out of it. There's an artist within many of us that just, is aching to get out, and I'd like to see the show Roughing It. Do that, get out, get exposure to other writers, and just be something, be a venue for that kind of thought.
Well, I was offered to do this show every Thursday by Zav. I wasn't able to commit at the moment, partly because I don't believe I have enough material, and I've got school and a son and 2 jobs. So, but if that's not enough, but I would like to do this show actually every week, but maybe on a different tip, maybe getting some other writers, like you said, and I could.
Think that's what it needs to be done.
Come
on, networking must be done.
And do that. And even like some musicians, like I was saying the other day, some musicians with music.
Anybody who's writing their own stuff.
Anybody writing their own stuff, anybody creating their own stuff.
Stories.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what the crux of it, where it all comes together.
And I was a little bit
bigger than
I was a little nervous coming up here tonight.
Hold on. We can't both talk at the same time.
Okay, go on.
It becomes something bigger than the sum of its parts when we can bring this experience to other people.
Yeah.
That's where the beauty lies. Yep.
And I'm good at networking. That's one of my forte. Okay, so back to these questions. You kind of answered some of them. What message are you carrying, I guess, in your writing? Like, you kind of said what message you're carrying as human being as what you do through your work, I suppose. But is there any kind of message you want to carry? Like, I'm going to read this story, Tootie Man's Last Dance.
Yeah.
What message? Does it have a message? What is it? Does it have a message?
I think people got... I don't know if I have one solid message that all my writing can go under the umbrella of.
Yeah.
But I do know this. I like to have, like, a tongue-in-cheek, sort of dark humor view of the world.
Okay.
It's from the experiences that I've lived through, accumulated, been thankful to live through some of them,
Right.
It comes from the characters I meet on the streets. Tootie Man is based off of a real person.
Okay.
This call is being terminated.
Okay,
no
bye.
third-party calls are allowed.
Okay, Tyler's done. I think that was successful. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Oh, here comes the guy with the dog. Okay, how's that? Can you hear me still, Thomas? Turn it up a little bit.
Little up. Not much. No, you're good.
How's that?
You're good.
I can't hear myself.
I can hear you.
I can't hear me. Am I on still? I can't
you're
hear
on.
Me. Are you sure?
Turn it up a little more. A little more. There you go. I can hear myself.
I can't hear me.
Are your phones on? Because I can hear me.
I can hear you. Maybe I can't hear me. Yeah, I can hear me. I don't know.
You can hear me.
I can hear me.
You can hear it.
Okay, that was Tyler Renta calling from the Racine County Jail. How great was that?
Read his fascinating story now.
I'm going to read his story. Tootie Man's Last Dance by Tyler Renta, 2012, written from the jail, mailed to me, typed by me, somewhat edited by me and him. Okay, here we go. It's a long one. Rudy Tootie Fresh and Fruity was the phrase Tootie Man yelled every time that he walked through the door of a bar. Bartenders all over downtown knew that mantra and the man who went by Tootie Man well. They also knew that he wasn't going to have much money to spend, let alone a tip, but he was cheap entertainment for their customers. Tootie Man was a 6'3", 40-year-old, dark-complected man who loved to dance. It's kind of loud. Oh, just being distracted. There's a little bit of loud noise in the background. But anyway, okay, so Tootie Man loved to dance. Even his moves were out of date. He liked to frequent the bars where young professionals congregated to celebrate their successes or drown their failures. The regulars would smile no matter what kind of day they were having, and Tootie Man's toothless grin and catchphrase, Rudy Tootie, fresh and fruity, were enough to forget about life's troubles, even if only for a short while. "How you doing today, my tall black buddy?" asked Martin Schultz one warm spring Wednesday early evening. Martin was an accountant for Washburn and Majors who was known as a drinker. Some folks around the water cooler thought he was an alcoholic, and Martin knew the gossip. But in his mind and the view of the public at large, he was still very different from Tootie Man. He was a professional with a suit and a tie. Tootie Man was a bum who danced for drinks. "I needs me a beer, Mr. Martin," Tootie said. "Well, Tootie, you know I'm not one to just hand out charity. You know what you gotta do." Tootie Man knew what he had to do to get a beer from Martin Schultz, and so did the bartender who just laughed. Tootie Man danced to some song that he didn't even know, but had a beat he could work with. The boy could dance. He kicked, he flailed his arms, and he made a spectacle of himself. "Get my friend a beer," bellowed Martin Schultz as he made no effort whatsoever to contain his perverse amusement. The bartender knew without asking what kind of beer to get Tootie Man. The cheapest tapper they had. It was the same for everyone who bought Tootie a beer. Tootie Man liked the cheap beer because he had been drinking it since he was a boy, and he lived with his grandfather. When asked, he would get a beer for Granddad, who would tell him to get one for himself. To his granddad, this was not an issue, that he was only 9 years old. Tootie Man was a fun drunk. Once he got comfortable, and by comfortable I mean had 3 or 4 beers, he would put on some jukebox song from his youth by Prince, Rick James, then dance the drunken dance of forgone era. If the crowd was really lucky, Tootie would play one of his favorites by Run DMC, and he would attempt to break dance. At 40, his moves weren't what they once were. One night when the beer was especially flowing, Tootie Man tried to do a head spin and somehow fell, managing to knock out 4 of his front teeth. The crowd had a memorable laugh at that one. They laughed the way a king court would laugh at a mongoloid court jester who was hurt by his own doing mid-act. Despite his position in the world, Tootie was loved by most, even though he was respected by few. Tootie Man was an easy target and a ready whipping boy for many a professional who had just been laid into by, in some cases, her higher-ups. He was a target for all that was going on in their lives. If Tootie Man would have had $1 for every time he heard them yell, "Get that bum out of here," he hasn't got any money anyhow, from someone who didn't even work at the bar, then he wouldn't have needed to dance for beer money. However, Tootie Man loved dancing for beers at bars. He loved the people, the good ones and the bad. He just wanted to dance and drink the night away. Ever since he was young, a passion for drinking and dancing overwhelmed any use he may have had. In his youth, he danced more than he drank, and the girls loved him. Black ones, white ones, Puerto Rican ones, they all loved it when Tootie showed up. At this time, there was no question as to what Tootie wanted to do with his life, and that was the time when he coined the catchphrase and set up his daily routine, which was drink, dance, drink. Not too many of the first people that heard Rudy Tootie, fresh and fruity, would have anything to do with him now. Many people didn't even know he was alive. In his younger days, he never put down any roots. There was no woman that was the love of his life. There was no career, even a goal or a job. There was only the routine of drink, dance, drink. He had tried to hold down jobs, but his drinking always got in the way and would land him at homeless shelters and rescue missions. Sometimes family would take him in, but when they saw he had no intention of bringing in any substantial income, he was booted back to the streets, which was where he eventually called home anyway. Tootie would bed down in abandoned buildings or vacant lots. He washed up in public restrooms, and he found free clothing at churches. During the day, Tootie Man would set out a hat and dance for dollars and cents on the streets of downtown. This hustle usually brought in enough money for a burger and a 4-pack of tall boys. But nighttime was Tootie's time to shine. That was when the music would play, and he would dance for the nectar that made life worth living. Every once in a while, he would have someone just hand him a $10 or a $20 bill. Those were the good times. One night, that would change his life forever. Tootie had earned a $20 bill when a group of interns from White Talk Investments asked him to dance to Thriller just before the bar closed. Tootie took to the dance floor, and everyone gave him room. As the first few beats came out of the new internet jukebox, Tootie's leg rose and fell perfectly in tune with the music. He knew he was in sync with the piece as Michael belted out, "It's after midnight." As Tootie spun around dancing his routine, that those watching that night swear was choreographed, because he danced it as only the king of pop could. They laughed and they clapped and they showered him with praise as the song closed with Vincent Price's haunting voice. Thriller Night played very well. People were handing Tootie 1s and 5s and 10s, and the lights came on, signaling it was time to go. Tootie felt like a star on his walk to his new spot, which was in a shed behind an out-of-business paint store. The night before, he had made a bed there from some cardboard and newspaper. It was just big enough for him to stretch out in, and it didn't smell bad either. The moment that changed his life for good did not come with any prelude or warning whatsoever. An overly tired, uninsured foundry worker on his way home simply did not see Tootie Man. He just felt a thump and heard a thud. What happened was Tootie stepped off of a curb, buzzing from alcohol, and adoration, and his left leg, less than 20 minutes ago, was bouncing to those unforgettable beats of Thriller, got sucked into the front passenger side wheel well. The rest of his lower body followed, and he got irreparably mangled with an eighth of a second after. The driver stopped and got out of his car. He ran over to the passenger side only to be met by the carnage of what was left of Tootie Man. Tootie's head was rolling back and forth on the asphalt, just looking up blankly. The driver knew there would be hell to pay, and he would be the one to pay for it. There was only one thing in his mind to do, and that was take off. And that's just what he did. Tootie lay in the intersection knowing something had happened, but he could not wrap his head around a coherent thought. Visions of his mother, an old pair of Nikes, and his granddad's old junky truck flashed through his mind. He thought about the shed and getting beer. Then there were stars. 2 days later at a hospital he had never been to before, he woke up in a bright room, with his Aunt Phyllis and his uncle and his cousin Marvin sitting in comfortable-looking chairs next to him. Aunt Phyllis was reading a Bible, and Cousin Marvin was talking on a cell phone to someone he must have owed money to. "Oh, baby, I knew you would come back to us," said Aunt Phyllis. As he tried to move his lips, his mouth was dry, and he couldn't get out any words. "Marvin, give your cousin some of that water," Aunt Phyllis commanded. Marvin did as he was asked while talking on his cell phone. The water flowed over Tootie's tongue and down his throat, lubricating a passageway for the most important question of the rest of his life. What happened, and why am I here? And why are you here? "Oh, baby," Aunt Phyllis's eyes began to tear up, just like they did when she had to tell him his mother passed away. Tootie knew this was serious. "Tootie, we saw your picture on the news about a hit and run. The people from the news were asking if anyone had info, baby, and they wanted to find the driver that took your legs." "Took my legs?" Tootie didn't seem to understand at first. "Was probably a drunk driver," said Cousin Marvin. "What's the chances of that, Mama? A drunk handicapping another drunk? You lucky to be alive." Marvin chuckled as Tootie Man realized that he was hooked up to all sorts of tubes and monitors. He began to try and feel for his legs, which were not there. He reached for his privates, and all he felt was a tube connecting to a bag filled with urine. He saw another bag next to it filled with bile. "I'm dead," was all Tootie could say before he became so overwhelmed that he passed out. Scared, his Aunt Phyllis hit the red nurse call button, alerting the nurse station. There was a problem in the room. Less than a minute later, a nurse appeared. "Oh, he'll be fine. I'll get the doctor and call someone to talk with him. Does he know?" Both Aunt Phyllis and Cousin Marvin nodded their heads in unison. The doctor came and woke Tootie up and explained to him, life was not over, and there was a lot of life left for a person in his condition. Aunt Phyllis and Cousin Marvin took Tootie Man in knowing he was going to receive that disability check. Aunt Phyllis tried to make it seem like she wanted to help him, but in reality she just wanted that check to take care of him and his deadbeat cousin. For a good year and a half, she collected his checks and gave him the money that she saw fit. You're not supposed to drink anymore, you know that. So anytime she suspected he'd been drinking, she would take away his allowance for the next week. Tootie hated life. No more drinking and dancing. His love for old music went away with the lower half of his body. His days were spent in macabre thought. He began saving his allowance for the day. Took 3 weeks, but he finally had enough to buy 1.5 liters of top-shelf vodka. He never drank vodka, but he knew it would do the trick. He had the men at the liquor store call him a cab. There was only one place he could think to finish this whole tragedy he called life. He went out to the old business paint store that he had bed down behind the day before his accident. The paint store had a sale sign out in front of it now. He had the cabbie pull up around the back. "Hey, you looking to buy this place?" asked the cabbie. "Kinda." Tootie Man dropped off in the back. The grass was tall and overgrown. He rolled himself and his bag, carrying the 1.5 liters, over to the shed. Home. Tootie Man pushed himself to the ground and crawled into the shed. The shed was just as he remembered it. Aluminum walls attached to an old rotten frame. His bed of cardboard and newspaper was just as he had left it, waiting for him to return. Tootie Man said a little prayer and popped the top of the most expensive liquor he had ever drank. He thought of many things that afternoon, but most of all he thought about dancing for the people at the bars. 2 days later, a realtor pulled up to try to sell the dilapidated old paint store and saw Tootie Man's wheelchair behind the shed. Damn kids always messing around with stuff. He went over to try and push the wheelchair out of the way, and he looked in the shed. He saw Tootie Man's half of a body lying on the floor, his hands still clutching the bottles of vodka. What was left of his organs could not process the alcohol, and he had died. There was no funeral. Aunt Phyllis had Tootie cremated and kept his ashes in a plastic urn that Uncle Marvin threw away when she passed away 4 years later. Cousin Marvin had no place to put them at his girlfriend's house. But he did have a place for Tootie's wheelchair, Redo's secondhand medical supply shop, where he got a whole $35 in cash. The end. All right, we got 8:01. I'm running over time here. Thank you for joining us here at Riverwest Radio. I'm Alicia, and peace. Do I gotta do something here? Oh, my purse. What? Is that what happened? So they weren't seeing me at all? But they could hear me, right?
Oh, yeah. They can probably still hear us.
Right.
They can hear everything. I can't wait to listen to the recording.
What?
I can't wait to listen to the recording.
Why?
Because
It's fine.
it's going to be great. Oh, yeah. It's right here. I just picked it up. It was like laying like this.
You know, because there was a little later. Well, where was it?
It was like laying. I just noticed it laying like this. Like when we were sitting there. I think it got screwed up somewhere. Oh well. It don't matter. It's such a small area that it's recording anyways. Right. And you got to hear your voice. Loud and clear.
You gotta shut it off? Was it, did you see it the whole time, or did the camera fall on? What? Oh, did you see it? 'Cause I think the camera fell over.
Yeah, because we lost the visual at like sometime before 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there on that screen.
Oh,
And then I noticed the camera was laying on its side just about 2 or 3 seconds ago.
Oh, just the...
This back here.
Yeah, we just lost the screen. This